Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be going over some interesting rumors when it comes to some PlayStation 5 remakes and a potential sequel to one of the best PS4 games of all time. Before I get into the video, make sure you leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel grow. So the first topic is coming from Game Rant, and it's about apparently Bloodborne 2 coming to PS5 alongside the remaster of the first Bloodborne game. So it reads, a Bloodborne remaster has been rumored for quite some time, but now it seems that a full-fledged Bloodborne sequel could also be in the works. Sony recently acquired Bluepoint Games, the studio best known for producing critically acclaimed remakes of other PlayStation titles. As part of the acquisition announcement, it was confirmed that Bluepoint Games was working on a brand new game, though it wasn't clarified if that project was a new IP or not. If the latest rumors are to be believed, it's possible that Bluepoint's new game is none other than Bloodborne 2. This rumor comes from Colin Moriarty of the Sacred Symbols podcast. Speaking on Bluepoint Games, Moriarty reiterated previous claims that Bluepoint Games is bringing Bloodborne 1 to PS5, but that the studio is supposedly going to be releasing Bloodborne 2 when that's done. They're re-releasing Bloodborne on PS5 as I understand it, but we are going to get a sequel to Bloodborne as I have heard out of them after that. Various insiders and leakers have all suggested that Bluepoint Games is working on a Bloodborne remaster or remake for PS5, though few have claimed that Bluepoint's next game would be a Bloodborne sequel. In fact, leaker Millie A has suggested that Bluepoint's original game is on the scale of Spider-Man Miles Morales from Insomniac Games, which would seem unlikely if the studio is truly moving forward with Bloodborne 2 next. Ultimately, it's hard to say whose information is correct until Bluepoint Games itself reveals what it's working on. There are enough people claiming that a Bloodborne remake or remaster is coming next from the studio that it would be surprising if it turned out to be untrue, but there are less people saying that a Bloodborne sequel is also in the works. Fans will just have to take a wait and see approach for now. Some might not like the idea of a Bloodborne sequel being developed by a studio other than From Software, but From Software doesn't seem to be interested in making the game. Reports indicate that From Software is making a different PS5 exclusive game, presumably an original IP, though that remains to be seen. Right now, the studio is focused on getting Elden Ring ready to ship, as that highly anticipated game is scheduled to launch this coming January. Whether or not Bluepoint Games is making Bloodborne 2 or something completely different remains to be seen. The Demon's Souls remake that the studio put out isn't even a year old at this point, so it's hard to imagine that fans will get answers anytime soon. But hopefully they don't have to wait too long to find out what's next from the studio. So I thought this was a pretty interesting article. I've never played Bloodborne before, but I've heard that pretty much from everyone that's ever played it that it's one of the greatest games of all time. Obviously it's one of the Souls games, and the only Souls game I've ever played was the Demon's Souls remake, and it is extremely hard to me, so I've always been kind of turned off to the idea of playing Bloodborne. As we all know that Elden Ring is coming out January, so I want to get some practice in before that game comes out because I'm pretty excited for that. So at some point I probably will try Bloodborne, but what do you guys think about apparently Bluepoint Games might be bringing not only a remaster of the first Bloodborne to the PS5, but also apparently a sequel? Would you guys be interested in the Bloodborne 2? Just let me know down below. Now, moving on to the next topic of the video, I want to talk about this rumor about apparently one of the devs for Metal Gear Solid 3 has confirmed an unannounced AAA remake. So it reads, an employee from Virtuos Games lists previous experience that could lend credence to the recent Metal Gear Solid 3 remake leaks. This past week, multiple reports shared news regarding Konami partnering with developers to release games tied to some of the publisher's largest brands. Titles including new games in the Silent Hill and Castlevania franchises were reported to be in development, but the most substantial reveal was the existence of a Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake that is believed to be made by developer Virtuos Games. Now, a recently discovered job listing could provide further evidence of the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake's existence. Twitter user Faizan Shakir, I'm sorry if I butchered that, which I know I did, shared a LinkedIn profile for Virtuos lead software engineer Xiang Li on Sunday, which featured what could be important information. Lee's most recent job experience listed is for what he describes as an unannounced AAA action-adventure game remake, in which he led a team of 12 developers working on the project's game engine. While a game title was never mentioned, Metal Gear Solid 3 fits the description of a AAA action-adventure game remake. Also notable in Lee's profile is that his work on this unannounced AAA game began in October 2018 and not recently. This is actually somewhat contradictory to previous reports, which insisted that the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake is currently in early development. It's still possible for a game to be in development for 3 years and still be considered early, but it could mean that it's a different project or that there's more to Metal Gear Solid 3's development than is apparent. One other detail from the original report on Metal Gear Solid 3's remake is that Konami is planning to release smaller remasters of other original Metal Gear Solid titles ahead of Metal Gear Solid 3. It's possible that Lee is referring to one of these other projects, plans for which could stretch further back than for Metal Gear Solid 3 itself. Ultimately, the original report from Metal Gear Solid 3's remake is unconfirmed, and Lee's connection to that rumor is just another layer of rumor itself. As such, Metal Gear Solid fans should probably take these leaks with a grain of salt. The key issue behind all Konami-related rumors is that Konami's been distanced from game development for not just Metal Gear Solid, but most of its franchises for years. While it's absolutely possible, if not likely, that Konami is trying to resurrect these franchises, it's also possible that it changes its mind or shifts directions. Without an official announcement from Konami, it's best to maintain a healthy amount of skepticism regarding Metal Gear Solid 3's remake and all adjacent Konami rumors. So yeah guys, it just seems the farther we get on into this PS5's life cycle, like every month now, it seems like there's a new leak or a new rumor about Metal Gear Solid. You know, I've always said this, that I believe Sony is making like a comeback for Metal Gear Solid, whether it's like a sequel to Phantom Pain or a remake of the first game, or like it says in this article about Metal Gear Solid 3, and that they might be remastering the rest of the games before Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake comes out. So, I mean, this just adds more fuel to the fire in my opinion. We are supposedly supposed to be getting this unannounced AAA remake officially being announced in December, so I'm hoping it's Metal Gear. There's another game that people were saying that had that Irish theme song in it. I forgot the name of it, but I don't think that's that popular of a game, and that lady said that it was like a huge remake for the PlayStation. So in my opinion, I believe it's going to be Metal Gear Solid in some way, shape, or form, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that Metal Gear Solid 3 is going to be remade, or do you think they might just start off by remaking or remastering the other games in the Metal Gear Solid saga? Now, to end the video, I want to share some time talking about, yet again, the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Remaster that's supposed to be coming out later this year, because apparently the prices of this trilogy has been leaked online, and initial reactions are not good. So it says, Grand Theft Auto Trilogy leak suggests it will be expensive. A new leak suggests that Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition, could be more expensive than fans may have anticipated. Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy was one of the worst kept secrets in gaming, with numerous leaks revealing the collection well before Rockstar Games made the official announcement. But even though Rockstar Games has finally announced Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy, there's still a lot of fans that don't know about it. This includes how much the trilogy will cost, and if a recent leak is to be believed, it could be pretty expensive. RetailerBase.com is accepting pre-orders for Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy, and the prices listed suggest that the game will retail for full price. What this means is that it's possible that Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One versions of Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy will cost $60, whereas the next generation versions on PS5 and Xbox Series X will cost $70. This has not been confirmed by Rockstar Games at the time of this writing, and it's entirely possible that these are simply placeholder prices, and so fans should keep that in mind. While the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy games will have some improvements, fans are used to remasters selling at budget prices. For example, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy had a budget price when it launched, and it included significant graphical upgrades compared to the original versions of the games. It's possible that the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy games will all be getting similar visual upgrades, but that remains to be seen. It's just as possible that the games won't look much different than the HD versions released on PS4 a few years back, and so fans should brace themselves for that reality. Ultimately, until Rockstar Games itself decides to show Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy, all fans can do is speculate. Despite announcing Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy and confirming that it's releasing by the end of the year, Rockstar has yet to release a proper trailer for the game. The latest rumor suggests that the Grand Theft Auto 3 20th anniversary on October 22nd could be when the trailer for the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy drops, but again, nothing official has been announced by Rockstar, so fans should take this information with a grain of salt. Rumors also point to the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy release date being November 11th, but fans will just have to wait and see if there's any truth to those claims. So I'm just going to be honest with you guys, I'm not really excited as of right now for this trilogy because we haven't seen anything, and then especially hearing that we might have to pay $70 for the new gen consoles. Like, it better be like full on remakes, or at least like a huge graphical and gameplay upgrade, like with the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy. Like, if it's like how they showed off the PS5 version of GTA 5, where it might run a little faster but it pretty much looks the same, I will not buy this. Like, I was waiting forever to finally see what GTA 5 on PS5 was going to look like, and it ruined my hype, and I'm no longer going to be buying GTA 5. So I'm hoping this time around with this trilogy, especially because I've never played any of these games before. The only Grand Theft Auto I've ever played was 5. So hopefully it grabs my attention when Rockstar officially shows us what the games are going to look like, and hopefully it'll be like 40 or 50 bucks and not 70. But what do you guys think? Do you think that if this trilogy does come out at $70, does that make you second guess whether or not you want to buy it? Would you guys be okay with buying the trilogy if the games only look slightly better and they just work on like gameplay and stuff? Like, would you still want to buy that, especially at such a high price point? Just let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.